The Song of the Bow by Arthur Conan Doyle. Read for LibriVox.org by Asaph Koss. What of the bow? The bow was made in England, of true wood, of yew wood, the wood of English bows, so men were freel of the old yew tree, and the land where the yew tree grows. What of the cord? The cord was made in England, a rough cord, a tough cord, a cord that bowmen love, and so we will sing of the hempen string and the land where the cord was wove. What of the shaft? The shaft was cut in England, a long shaft, a strong shaft, bob and trim and true, so we'll drink all together to the grey goose feather and the land where the grey goose flew. What of the mark? Ah, seek it not in England. A bold mark, our old mark, is waiting over sea. When the strings harp in chorus and the lion flag is o'er us, it is there that our mark will be. What of the man? The men were bred in England, the bowman, the yeoman, the lads of dale and fell. Here's to you and to you, to the hearts that are true, and the land where the true hearts dwell. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Cremona by Arthur Conan Doyle, read for LibriVox.org by Jeannie Whitfield. The French army, including a part of the Irish Brigade under Marshal Villeroy, held the fortified town of Cremona during the winter of 1702. Prince Eugene, with the imperial army, surprised it one morning, and owing to the treachery of a priest, occupied the whole city before the alarm was given. Villeroy was captured, together with many of the French garrison. The Irish, however, consisting of the regiments of Dillon and Burke, held a fort commanding the river gate, and defended themselves all day in spite of Prince Eugene's effort to win them over to his cause. Eventually, Eugene, being unable to take the post, was compelled to withdraw from the city. The Grenadiers of Austria are proper men and tall. The Grenadiers of Austria have scaled the city wall. They have marched from far away ere the dawning of the day, and the morning saw them masters of Cremona. There's not a man to whisper, there's nigh a horse to neigh, of the footmen of Lorraine and the riders of Dupre. They have crept up every street, in the market-place they meet. They are holding every vantage in Cremona. The Marshal Villeroy, he has started from his bed. The Marshal Villeroy has no wig upon his head. I have lost my men, quoth he, and my men, they have lost me, and I sorely fear we both have lost Cremona. Prince Eugene of Austria is in the market-place. Prince Eugene of Austria has smiles upon his face. Says he, our work is done, for the citadel is won, and the black and yellow flag flies o'er Cremona. Major Dan O'Mahony is in the barrack square, and just 600 Irish lads are waiting for him there. Says he, come in your shirt, and you won't take any hurt, for the morning air is pleasant in Cremona. Major Dan O'Mahony is at the barrack gate, and just 600 Irish lads will neither stay nor wait. There's Dillon, and there's Burke, and there'll be some bloody work, ere the Kaiserlicks shall boast they hold Cremona. Major Dan O'Mahony has reached the river fort, and just 600 Irish lads are joining in the sport. Come take a hand, says he, and if you will stand by me, then it's glory to the man who takes Cremona. Prince Eugene of Austria has frowns upon his face, and loud he calls his galloper of Irish blood and race. MacDonald, write, I pray, to your countrymen, and say that only they are left in all Cremona. MacDonald, he has reined his mare beside the river dike, and he has tied the parley flag upon a sergeant's pike. 6 companies were there from Limerick and Clare, the last of all the guardians of Cremona. Now, Major Dan O'Mahony, give up the river gate, or Major Dan O'Mahony, you'll find it is too late. For when I gallop back, 'tis the signal for attack, and no quarter for the Irish in Cremona." And Major Dan he laughed. "Faith, if what you say be true, and if they will not come until they hear again from you, then there will be no attack, for you're never going back, and we'll keep you snug and safe in Cremona. All the weary day the German stormers came, all the weary day they were faced by fire and flame. They have filled the ditch with dead, and the river's running red, but they cannot win the gateway of Cremona. All the weary day, again, 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 the horsemen of Dupre and the footmen of Lorraine, Tafe and Herberstein, and the riders of the Rhine, it's a mighty price they're paying for Cremona. Time and time they came with a deep-mouthed German roar. Time and time they broke like the wave upon the shore. Or better men were there from Limerick and Clare, and who will take the gateway of Cremona? Prince Eugene has watched, and he gnaws his nether lip. Prince Eugene has cursed as he saw his chances slip. Call off, he cried. It is nearing eventide, and I fear our work is finished in Cremona. Says Wauchop to McAuliffe, "Their fire is growing slack." Says Major Dan O'Mahony, "It is their last attack. But who will stop the game while there's light to play the same, and to walk a short way with them from Cremona?" And so they snarl behind them, and beg them turn and come. They have taken Newburgh's standard, they have taken Dyak's drum, and all along the winding Po, beard on shoulder, stern and slow, the Kaiserlics are riding from Cremona. Just 200 Irish lads are shouting on the wall, 400 more are lying who can hear no slogan call. But what's the odds of that? For it's all the same to Pat if he pays his debt in Dublin or Cremona. Says General de Vaudreuil, "You've done a soldier's work, and every tongue in France shall talk of Dillon and of Burke. Ask what you will this day, and be it what it may, it is granted to the heroes of Cremona." "Why then," says Dan O'Mahony, "one favour we entreat. We were called a little early, and our toilet's not complete. We've no quarrel with the shirt, but the breeches wouldn't hurt, for the evening air is chilly in Cremona." End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Storming Party by Arthur Conan Doyle. Read for LibriVox.org by L. Christopherson. Said Paul Leroy to Barrow, "Though the breach is steep and narrow, if we only gain the summit, then its odds will hold the fort. I have 10 and you have 20, and the 30 should be plenty, with Henderson and Henty and McDermott in support." Said Barrow to Leroy, "It's a solid job, my boy, for they've flanked it, and they've banked it, and they've bored it with a mine. But it's only 50 paces ere we look them in the faces, and the men are in their places, with their toes upon the line." Said Paul Leroy to Barrow, "See the first ray, like an arrow, how it tinges all the fringes of the sullen drifting skies. They told me to begin it, I've 5:30 to the minute, and at 31 I'm in it, or my sub will get his rise. So we'll wait the signal rocket till... Barrow, show that locket, that turquoise-studded locket, which you slip from out your pocket and are pressing with a kiss. Turquoise-studded, spiral-twisted, it is hers, and I had missed it from her chain, and you have kissed it. Barrow, villain, what is this?" Leroy, I had a warning that my time has come this morning, so I speak with frankness, scorning to deny the thing that's true. Yes, it Amy's is the trinket, the little turquoise-studded trinket, not her gift, oh, never think it, for her thoughts were all for you. As we danced I gently drew it from her chain, she never knew it, but I love her, yes, I love her, I am candid, I confess. But I never told her, never, for I knew 'twas vain endeavour, and she loved you ever, would to God she loved you less. Barrow, Barrow, you shall pay me, your comrade, to betray me, well I know that little Amy is as true a wife can be. She gave this love-badge locket. She had rather... Ha! The rocket! Hi, MacDougall, sound the bugle. Yorkshires, Yorkshires, follow me. Said Paul Leroy to Amy, Well, wifey, you may blame me, for my passion overcame me when he told me of his shame. But when I saw him lying dead amid the ring of dying, why, poor devil, I was trying to forget and not to blame. And this locket I unclasped it from the fingers that still grasped it. He told me how he got it, how he stole it in a valse. And she listened, leaden-hearted. Oh, the weary day they parted, for she loved him, yes, she loved him, for his youth and for his truth, and for those dying words so false. End of poem. This poem is in the public domain.
The Frontier Line by Arthur Conan Doyle. Read for LibriVox.org by Anusha Iyer, Mumbai. The Frontier Line. What marks the frontier line? Thou man of India, say, is it the Himalayas sheer, the rocks and valleys of Kashmir, or Indus as she seeks the south, from Attock to the fivefold mouth? Not that, not that. Then answer me, I pray, what marks the frontier line? What marks the frontier line? Thou man of Burma, speak. Is it traced from Mandalay and down the marches of Cathay, from Bhamo south to Chiang Mai, and where the buried rubies lie? Not that, not that. Then tell me what I seek. What marks the frontier line? What marks the frontier line? Thou Afrikander, say. Is it shown by Zulu kraal, by Drakensberg or winding Vaal, or where the Shire waters seek their outlet east at Mozambique? Not that, not that. There is a surer way to mark the frontier line. What marks the frontier line? Thou man of Egypt, tell. Is it traced on Luxor's sand, where Karnak's painted pillars stand, or where the river runs between the Ethiop and Bishareen? Not that, not that. By neither stream nor well we mark the frontier line. But be it east or west, one common sign we bear. The tongue may change, the soil, the sky, but where your British brothers lie, the lonely cairn, the nameless grave, still fringe the flowing Saxon wave. 'Tis that, 'tis where they lie, the men who placed it there, that marks the frontier line. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Corporal Dick's Promotion by Arthur Conan Doyle. Read for LibriVox.org by Jeannie Whitfield. Corporal Dick's Promotion, a Ballad of '82. The eastern day was well nigh o'er, when, parched with thirst and travel sore, 2 of Macpherson's flanking corps across the desert were tramping. They had wandered off from the beaten track, and now were wearily harking back, ever staring round for the signal jack that marked their comrades camping. The one was Corporal Robert Dick, bearded and burly, short and thick, rough of speech and in temper quick, a hard-faced old rapscallion. The other, fresh from the barrack square, was a raw recruit, smooth-cheeked and fair, half-grown, half-drilled, with the weedy air of a draft from the home battalion. Weary and parched and hunger-torn, they had wandered on from early morn. The young boy soldier limped forlorn, now stumbling and now falling. Around the orange sand curves lay, flecked with boulders black or grey. Death silent, save that far away a kite was shrilly calling. A kite? Was that a kite? The yell that shrilly rose and faintly fell? No kites, and yet the kite knows well the long-drawn wild halloo. And right athwart the evening sky the yellow sand grey spurled high, and shrill and shriller swelled the cry of Allah, Allahu! The corporal peered at the crimson west, hid his pipe in his khaki vest, growled out an oath and onward pressed, still glancing over his shoulder. "Bedouin's mate," he curtly said, "we'll find some work for steel and lead, and maybe sleep in a sandy bed before we're 1 hour older. But just one flutter before we're done. Stiffen your lip and stand, my son. We'll take this bloomin' circus on. Ball cartridge load. Now steady!" With a curse and a prayer the two faced round. Dogged and grim they stood their ground, and their breech-blocks snapped with a crisp, clean sound as the rifle sprang to the ready. Alas for the Emir Ali Khan, 100 paces before his clan! That ebony steed of the Prophet's breed is the foal of death and of danger. A spurt of fire, a gasp of pain, a bluish blur on the yellow plain. The chief was down, and his bridle rein was in the grip of the stranger. With the light of hope on his rugged face, the corporal sprang to the dead man's place. One prick with the steel, one thrust with the heel, and where was the man to outride him? A grip of his knees, a toss of his rein, he was settling her down to gallop again, when he stopped, for he heard just one faltering word from the young recruit beside him, one faltering word from pal to pal. But it found the heart of the corporal. He had sprung to the sand, he had lent him a hand. "Up, mate! They'll be 'ere in a minute. Off with you, no palaver. Go! I'll bide behind and run this show. Promotion has been cursed slow, and this is my chance to win it." Into the saddle he thrust him quick, spurred the black mare with a bayonet prick, watched her gallop, with plunge and with kick, away o'er the desert careening. Then he turned with a softened face, and loosened the strap of his cartridge case, while his thoughts flew back to the dear old place in the sunny Hampshire clearing. The young boy private, glancing back, saw the Bedouin's wild attack, and heard the sharp Martini crack. But as he gazed already, the fierce fanatic Arab band was closing in on every hand, until one tawny swirl of sand concealed them in its eddy. A squadron of British horse that night, galloping hard in the shadowy light, came on the scene of that last stern fight, and found the corporal lying silent and grim on the trampled sand, his rifle grasp in his stiffened hand, with the warrior pride of one who died mid a ring of the dead and the dying. And still, when twilight shadows fall, after the evening bugle call, in bivouac or in barrack hall, his comrades speak of the corporal, his death and his devotion, and there are some who like to say that perhaps a hidden meaning lay in the words he spoke, and that the day when his rough, bold spirit passed away was the day he won promotion. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
A Forgotten Tale by Arthur Conan Doyle. Read for LibriVox.org by Asaph Koss. The scene of this ancient fight, recorded by Froissart, is still called Altura de los Inglesos. 500 years later, Wellington's soldiers were fighting on the same ground. "Say, what saw you on the hill, Campesino Garcia?" "I saw my brindled heifer there, a trail of bowmen spent and bare, and a little man on a sorrel mare riding slow before them." Say, what saw you in the vale, Campesino Garcia? There I saw my lambing ewe, and an army riding through. Thick and brave the pennons flew from the lances o'er them. Then what saw you on the hill, Campesino Garcia? I saw beside the milking byre, white with want and black with mire, the little man with eyes afire, marshalling his bowmen. Then what saw you in the vale, Campesino Garcia? There I saw my bullocks twain, and amid my uncut grain, all the hardy men of Spain spurring for their foemen. Nay, but there is more to tell, Campesino Garcia. I could not bide the end to view, I had graver things to do, tending on the lambing ewe down among the clover. Ah, but tell me what you heard, Campesino Garcia. Shouting from the mountain side, shouting until eventide, but it dwindled and it died, or milking time was over. Nay, but saw you nothing more, Campesino Garcia? Yes, I saw them lying there, the little man and sorrel mare, and in their ranks the bowmen fair, with their staves before them. And the hardy men of Spain, Campesino Garcia? Hush, but we are Spanish too, more I may not say to you, may God's benison like dew gently settle over them. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Pennarby Mine by Arthur Conan Doyle. Read for LibriVox.org by Greg Giordano. Newport Richey, Florida. Pennarby Mine. Pennarby shaft is dark and steep, 8 foot wide, 800 deep. Stout the bucket, and tough the cord, strong as the arm of Winchman Ford. Never look down, stick to the line, that was the saying at Pennarby Mine. A stranger came to Pennarby shaft, Lord, to see how the miners laughed. White in the collar and stiff in the hat, with his patent boots and his silk cravat, picking his way, dainty and fine, stepping on tiptoe to Pennarby Mine. Touring from London, so he said. Was it copper they dug for, or gold, or lead? Where did they find it? How did it come? If he tried with a shovel, might he get some? Stooping so much was bad for the spine, and wasn't it warmish in Pennarby Mine? 'Twas like two worlds that met that day, the world of work and the world of play, and the grimy lads from the reeking shaft nudged each other and grinned and chaffed. Got 'em all out, a cousin of mine, so ran the banter at Pennarby Mine. And Carnbray Bob, the Pennarby wit, told him the facts about the pit, how they bored the shaft till the brimstone smell warned them off from tapping, well, he wouldn't say what, but they took it as sign to dig no deeper in Pennarby Mine. Then leaning over and peering in, he was pointing out what he said was tin. In the 10-foot load a crash, a jar, a grasping hand and a splintered bar. Gone in his strength, with the lips that laughed. Oh, the pale faces round Pennarby shaft! Far down on a narrow ledge they saw him cling to the crumbling edge. "Wait for the bucket! Hi, man, stay! That rope ain't safe, it's worn away!" "He's taking his chance, slack out the line!" "Sweet Lord be with him!" cried Pennarby Mine. "He's got him! He has him! Pull with a will! Thank God, he's over and breathing still! And he, Lord sakes now, what's that? Well, blowed if it ain't our London swell! Your heart is right, if your coat is fine, give us your hand!" cried Pennarby Mine. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
A Rover Chanty by Arthur Conan Doyle. Read for LibriVox.org by Leonard Wilson of Springfield, Ohio. A trader sailed from Stepney town. Wake her up, shake her up, try with the mainsail. A trader sailed from Stepney town, with a keg full of gold and a velvet gown. Ho, the bully Rover Jack, waiting with his yard aback, out upon the Lowland sea. The trader he had a daughter fair, wake her up, shake her up, try her with the foresail. The trader he had a daughter fair, she had gold in her ears and gold in her hair. All for bully Rover Jack, waiting with his yard aback, out upon the Lowland sea. Alas the day, O daughter mine! Shake her up, wake her up, try her with the topsail. Alas the day, O daughter mine! Yon red, red flag is a fearsome sign. Ho, the bully Rover Jack, reaching on the weather tack, out upon the Lowland sea. A fearsome flag, the maiden cried, wake her up, shake her up, try her with the jibsail. A fearsome flag, the maiden cried, but comelier men I never have spied. Ho, the bully Rover Jack, reaching on the weather tack, out upon the Lowland sea. There's a wooden path that the rovers know, wake her up, shake her up, try her with the headsails. There's a wooden path that the rovers know, where none come back, though many must go. Oh, the bully Rover Jack, lying with his yard aback, out upon the Lowland sea. Where is the trader of Stepney town? Wake her up, shake her up, every stick a-bending. Where is the trader of Stepney town? There's gold on the capstan, and blood on the gown. Ho, for bully Rover Jack, waiting with his yard aback, out upon the Lowland sea. Where is the maiden who knelt at his side? Wake her up, shake her up, every stitch a-drawing. Where is the maiden who knelt at his side? We gowned her in scarlet, and chose her our bride. Ho, the bully Rover Jack, reaching on the weather tack, right across the Lowland sea. So it's up and it's over to Stornoway Bay. Pack it on, crack it on, try her with the stunsails. It's off on the bowline to Stornoway Bay, where the liquor is good and the lasses are gay. Waiting for their bully Jack, watching for him sailing back, right across the Lowland Sea. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
A Ballad of the Ranks by Arthur Conan Doyle. Read for LibriVox.org. Who carries the gun? A lad from over the Tweed. Then let him go, for well we know he comes of a soldier breed. So drink together to rock and heather, out where the red deer run, and stand aside for Scotland's pride, the man that carries the gun. For the colonel rides before, the major's on the flank, the captains and the adjutant are in the foremost rank. But when it's action front, and fighting's to be done, come one, come all, you stand or fall by the man who holds the gun. Who carries the gun? A lad from a Yorkshire dale. Then let him go, for well we know the heart that never will fail. Here's to the fire of Lancashire, and here's to her soldier son. For the heart but north has set him forth, the lad that carries the gun. Who carries the gun? A lad from a Midlandshire. Then let him go, for well we know he comes of an English sire. Here's a glass to a Midland lass, and each can choose the one. But east and west we claim the best for the man that carries the gun. Who carries the gun? A lad from the hills of Wales. Then let him go, for well we know that Taffy is hard as nails. There are several h's in the place where he dwells, and oo's more than one, with a shun and a pen, but it breeds good men, and it's they who carry the gun. Who carries the gun? A lad from the windy west. Then let him go, for well we know that he is one of the best. There's Bristol rough, and Gloucester tough, and Devon yields to none.
Or you may get in Somerset your lad to carry the gun. Who carries the gun? A lad from London town. Then let him go, for well we know the stuff that never backs down. He has learned to joke at the powder smoke, for he is the fog smoke's son. And his heart is light, and his pluck is right, the man who carries the gun. Who carries the gun? A lad from the Emerald Isle. Then let him go, for well we know we've tried him many a while. We've tried him east, we've tried him west, we've tried him sea and land, but the man to beat old Erin's best has never yet been planned. Who carries the gun? It's you, and you, and you. So let us go, and we won't say no if they give us a job to do. Here we stand with a cross-linked hand, comrades every one. So one last cup, and drink it up to the man who carries the gun. For the colonel rides before, the major's on the flank, the captains and the adjutant are in the foremost rank. And when it's "Action front!" and there's fighting to be done, come one, come all, you stand or fall by the man who holds the gun. End of poem.
A Lay of the Lynx by Arthur Conan Doyle. Read for LibriVox.org by Anusha Iyer, Mumbai. A Lay of the Lynx. It's up and away from our work today, for the breeze sweeps over the down, and it's hay for a game where the gorse blossoms flame, and the bracken is bronzing to brown. With the turf neath our tread and the blue overhead, and the song of the lark in the wind, there's the flag and the green with the bunkers between. Now will you be over or in? The doctor may come, and we'll teach him to know a tea where no tannin can lurk. The soldier may come, and we'll promise to show some hazards a soldier may shirk. The statesman may joke, as he tops every stroke, that at last he is high in his aims, and the clubman will stand with a club in his hand that is worth every club in St. James. The palm and the leather come rarely together, gripping the driver's haft, and it's good to feel the jar of the steel and the spring of the hickory shaft. Why trouble or seek for the praise of a clique? A clique here is common to all, and the lie that might sting is a very small thing when compared with the lie of the ball. Come youth and come age, from the study or stage, from bar or from bench, high and low. A green you must use as a cure for the blues, you drive them away as you go. We're outward bound on a long, long round, and it's time to be up and away. If worry and sorrow come back with the morrow, at least we'll be happy today. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Dying Whip by Arthur Conan Doyle. Read for LibriVox.org by Greg Giordano. The Dying Whip. It came from gettin' 'eated, that was 'ow the thing begun, and 'ackin' back to kennels from a 90-minute run. "I guess I've copped bronchitis," says I to brother Jack, and then afore I knowed it, I was down upon my back. At night there came a sweatin' as left me deadly weak, and my throat was sort of tickly, and it 'urt for me to speak. And then there came an 'ackin' cough as wouldn't leave alone, and then afore I knowed it, I was only skin and bone. I never was a 'eavyweight, I scaled at 7'4", and rode at 8, or maybe at just a trifle more. And now I'll stake my Davy I wouldn't scale at 5, and I'd 'old my own at catch weights with the skinniest jock alive. And the doctor says the reason why I sit and cough and wheeze is all along o' varmint, like the cheese mites in the cheese. The smallest kind o' varmint, but varmint all the same. Microscopes or somethin', I forget the varmint's name. But I knows as I'm a goner. They never said as much, but I reads the people's faces, and I knows as I am such. Well, there's erst to mind the 'orses, and the 'ounds can look to Jack, though 'ere never was a patch on me in 'andlin' of a pack. You'll maybe think I'm boastin', but you'll find they all agree that there's not a whip in Surrey as can 'andle 'ounds like me. For I knew 'em all from puppies, and I'd tell 'em without fail, if I seed a tail a waggin', I could tell who wagged the tail. And voices, why, Lor' love you, it's more than I can help, and just comes kind of natural to know each whine and yelp. You might take them 20 couple where you will and let 'em run, and I'd listen by the cover side and name 'em one by one. I say it's kind of natural, for since I was a brat, I never cared for readin' books or fancy things like that. But give me 'ounds and 'orses and I was quite content, and I loved to 'ear 'em talkin' and to wonder what they meant. And when the 'ydrophoby came 5 year ago next May, when Naylor was be'avin' in a most owdacious way, I fixed 'im so 'e's couldn't bite my 'ands on neck and back, and I 'eaved 'em from the kennels, and they say I saved the pack. And when the master 'eard of it, he up and says 'e, if that chap were a soldier man, they'd give 'im the V.C., which is some kind of medal what they give to soldier men, and master said if I were such I would a got it then. Parson brought his Bible and come to read to me. "'Ave what you like, there's everythink within this book," says 'e. Says I, "They've left the 'orses out." Says 'e, "You are mistook," and he up and read a couple things about them from the book. And some of it amazin' fine, although I'm fit to swear no 'orse would ever say "Ah!" same as they said it there. Per'aps it was an 'Ebrew 'orse the chap had in his mind, but I never cared an English 'orse say nothin' of the kind. Parson is a good 'un, I've known 'im from a lad. 'Twas me as taught him ridin', and he rides uncommon bad. And he says, "But 'ark and listen, there's an 'orn I 'eard it blow," pulled the blind from off the winder, prop me up, and hold me so. They're drawin' the Black Anger just aside the Squire's grounds. "'Ark and listen, 'ark and listen, there's a yappin' o' the 'ounds." There's Fanny and Beltinker, and I 'ear old Boxer call. You see I wasn't boastin' when I said I knew 'em all. Let me sit and 'old the bed rail, now I see 'em as they pass. There's Squire upon the Midland mare, a good 'un on the grass. But this is closish country, and you wants a clever 'orse, when 'alf the time you're in the woods and half among the gorse. 'Ark to Jack a-'ollerin', a-bleatin' like a lamb. You wouldn't think it now, perhaps, to see the thing I am. But there was a time the ladies used to linger at the meet, just to 'ear me callin' in the woods, my callin' was so sweet. I see the crossroads corner, with the field a-waitin' there. There's Purcell on his piebald 'orse and Doctor on the mare, and the master on his iron grey. She isn't much to look, but I seed her do clean 20 foot across the earthly brook. There's Captain Kane and M'Intyre and 'alf a dozen more, and 2 or 3 are 'untin' whom I never seed afore. Likely lookin' chaps they be, well groomed and 'orsed and dressed. I wish they could 'a seen the pack when it was at its best. It's a check, and they're drawin' down the coppice for a scent. You can see as they've been runnin', for the 'orses they are spent. I'll lay the fox will break this way, down wind as sure as fate, and if he does you'll see the field come poundin' through our gate. But Maggie, what's that slinkin' beside the cover, see? Now it's in the clover field and goin' fast and free. It's 'im, and they don't see 'im. It's 'im, alloo, alloo. My broken wind won't run to it. I'll leave the job to you. There now I 'ear the music, and I know they're on his track. Oh, watch 'em, Maggie, watch 'em. Ain't they just a lovely pack? I've nursed 'em through distemper, and I've trained and broke 'em in, and my 'art it just goes out to them as if they was my kin. Well, all things has an endin', and I've heard the parson say, the 'orse is cast, and the 'ound is past, and the 'unter has his day. But my day was yesterday, so lay me down again. You can draw the curtain, Maggie, right across the winder pane. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Master by Arthur Conan Doyle. Read for LibriVox.org by Anusha Iyer, Mumbai. Master. Master went a-hunting when the leaves were falling. We saw him on the bridle path. We heard him gaily calling. "O Master, Master, come you back, for I have dreamed a dream so black." A glint of steel from bit and heel, the chestnut cantered faster. A red flash seen amid the green, and so good-bye to Master. Master came from hunting, 2 silent comrades bore him. His eyes were dim, his face was white, the mare was led before him. "O Master, Master, is it thus that you have come again to us?" I held my lady's ice-cold hand, they bore the hurdle past her. Why should they go so soft and slow? It matters not to Master. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
H.M.S. Foudroyant by Arthur Conan Doyle. Read for LibriVox.org by Leonard Wilson of Springfield, Ohio. H.M.S. Foudroyant, being an humble address to Her Majesty's naval advisers, who sold Nelson's old flagship to the Germans for £1,000. Who says the nation's purse is lean? Who fears for claim or bond or debt, when all the glories that have been are scheduled as a cash asset? If times are black and trade is slack, if coal and cotton fail at last, we've something left to barter yet, our glorious past. There's many a crypt in which lies hid the dust of statesman or of king. There's Shakespeare's home to raise a bid, and Milton's house its price would bring. What for the sword that Cromwell drew? What for Prince Edward's coat of mail? What for our Saxon Alfred's tomb? They're all for sale. And stone and marble may be sold, which serve no present daily need. There's Edward's Windsor, labelled old, and Wolsey's palace, guaranteed. St. Clement Danes and 50 Fanes, the Tower and the Temple grounds. How much for these? Just price them, please, in British pounds. You hucksters, have you still to learn the things which money will not buy? Can you not read that, cold and stern as we may be, there still does lie deep in our hearts a hungry love for what concerns our island story? We sell our work, perchance our lives, but not our glory. Go barter to the knacker's yard the steed that has outlived its time. Send hungry to the pauper ward the man who served you in his prime. But when you touch the nation's store, be broad your mind and tight your grip. take heed, and bring us back once more our Nelson's ship. And if no moorings can be found in all our harbors, near or far, then tow the old three-decker round to where the deep sea soundings are. There, with her pennon flying clear, and with her ensign lashed peak high, sink her 1,000 fathoms sheer. There let her lie. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. The Farnshire Cup by Arthur Conan Doyle. Read for LibriVox.org by Leonard Wilson of Springfield, Ohio. Christopher Davis was up upon Mavis, and Sammy McGregor on Flow. Joe Chauncey rode Spider, the rankest outsider, but he'd make a wooden horse go. There was Robin and Leah and Boadicea, and Chesterfield's Son of the Sea, and Irish Nuneaton, who never was beaten. They backed her at 7-3. The course was the devil. A start on the level, and then a stiff breather uphill, a bank at the top with a 4-foot drop, and a bullfinch down by the mill. A stretch of straight from the Whittlesea gate, then up and down and up, and the mounts that stay through Farnshire clay may bid for the Farnshire Cup. The tipsters were touting, the bookies were shouting, "Bar one, bar one, bar one!" With a glint and a glimmer of silken shimmer, the fields shone bright in the sun, when Farmer Brown came riding down. "I hain't much to spare, but I've entered a name, so I'll play out the game on the back of me old gray mare. You never would think her a thoroughbred clinker, there's never a judge that would. Each leg behind has a splint, you'll find, and the fore are none too good. She roars a bit, and she don't look fit. She's moulted half her hair, but—" He smiled in a way that seemed to say that he knew that old gray mare. And the bookies laughed, and the bookies chaffed. "Who backs the mare?" cried they. 100 to 1. It's done and done. We'll take that price all day. What if the mare is shedding hair? What if her eye is wild? We read her worth and her pedigree birth in the smile that her owner smiled. And the whisper grew, and the whisper flew, that she came of Isonomy stock. 50 to 1. It's done and done. Look at her haunch and hock. Ill-groomed? Why, yes, but one may guess that that is her owner's guile. Ah, Father Brown, the sharps from town have read your simple smile. They've weighed him in. Now, lose or win, I've money at stake this day. Gee long, my sweet, and if we're beat, we'll both do all we may. He joins the rest, they line abreast. Back, Leah, Mavis up. The flag is dipped, and the field is slipped, full split for the Farnshire Cup. Christopher Davis is leading on Mavis, Spider is waiting on Flo, Boadicea is gaining on Leah, Irish Nuneaton lies low. Robin is tailing, his wind has been failing, Son of the Sea's going fast, so crack on the pace, for it's anyone's race, and the winner's the horse that can last. Chestnut and bay and sorrel and gray, see how they glimmer and gleam, bending and straining and losing and gaining, silk jackets flutter and stream. They are over the grass as the cloud shadows pass, they are up to the fence at the top. It's hey then, and over, and into the clover, there wasn't one slip at the drop. They are all going still, they are round by the mill, they are down by the Whittlesea gate. Leah's complaining, and Mavis is gaining, and Flo's catching up in the straight. Robin's gone wrong, but the Spider runs strong. He sticks to the leader like wax. An utter outsider, but look at his rider, Joe Chauncey, the pick of the cracks. Robin was tailing and pecked at a paling. Leah's gone weak in her feet. Boadicea came down at the railing. Son of the Sea, is dead beat. Leather to leather they're pounding together, 3 of them all in a row, and Irish Nuneaton, who never was beaten, is level with Spider and Flow. It's into the straight from the Whittlesea gate, clean galloping over the green, but 4 foot high the hurdles lie, with the sunken ditch between. 'Tis a bit of a test for a beast at its best, and the devil and all at its worst, but it's clear run in with the cup to win, for the horse that is over it first. So try it, my beauties, and fly it, my beauties, Spider, Nuneaton, and Flow. With a trip and a blunder there's one of them under, hark to it crashing below. Is it the brown or the sorrel that's down? The brown, it is Flow who is in, and Spider with Chauncey, the pick of the fancy, is going full split for a win. Spider is winning, Joe Chauncey is winning, he's winning, bravo! The bookies are raving, the ladies are waving, the stand is all shouting for Joe. The horse is clean done, but the race may be won by the Newmarket lad on his back, for the fire of the rider may bring an outsider ahead of a thoroughbred crack. Spider is winning, Joe Chauncey is winning, it swells like the roar of the sea, but Joe hears the drumming of somebody coming, and sees a lean head by his knee. Nuneaton, Nuneaton, the Spider is beaten. It is but a spurt at the most, for lose it or win it, they have but a minute before they are up with the post. Nuneaton is straining, Nuneaton is gaining, neither will falter nor flinch. Whips they are plying, and jackets are flying, they're fairly abreast to an inch. Crack 'em up, let 'em go, well ridden, bravo! Gamer ones never were bred. Joe Chauncey has done it, he's spurted, he's won it, the favourite's beat by a head. Don't tell me of luck, for it's judgment and pluck, and a courage that never will shirk, to give your mind to it and know how to do it, and put all your heart in your work. So here's to the Spider, the winning outsider, with little Joe Chauncey up. May they stay life's course, both jockey and horse, as they stayed in the Farnshire Cup. But it's possible that you are wondering what may have happened to Farmer Brown, and the old grey crock of Isonomy stock, who was backed by the sharps from town. She blew and she sneezed, she coughed and she wheezed, she ran till her knees gave way, but never a grumble at trip or at stumble was heard from her jock that day. For somebody laid against the grey, and somebody made a pile, and Brown says he can make farming pay, and he smiles a simple smile. Them shots from town were riled, says Brown, but I can't see why, can you? For I said quite fair, as I knew that mare, and I proved my words was true. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Groom's Story by Arthur Conan Doyle. Read for LibriVox.org by Greg Giordano. Newport Richey, Florida. The Groom's Story. 10 mile in 20 minutes. 'E done it, sir, that's true. The big bay 'orse in the further stall, the one what's next to you. I've seen some better 'orses, I've seldom seen a wuss, but 'e 'olds the bloomin' record, and that's good enough for us. We knew as it was in 'im, he's thoroughbred 3-part. We bought 'im for to race 'im, but we found 'e 'ad no 'art. For 'e was sad and thoughtful, and amazin' dignified. It seemed a kind o' liberty to drive 'im or to ride. For 'e never seemed a-thinkin' of what 'e 'ad to do, but his thoughts was set on 'igher things, admirin' of the view. He looked a perfect pictur', and a pictur' 'e would stay. He wouldn't even switch his tail to drive the flies away. And yet we knew 'twas in 'im, we knew as 'e could fly, but what we couldn't get at was how to make 'im try. We'd almost turned the job up, until at last one day we got the last yard out of 'im in a most amazin' way. It was all along o' master, which master 'as the name of a reg'lar true blue sportman, and always acts the same. But we all 'as weaker moments, which master 'e 'ad one, and 'e went and bought a motor car when motor cars begun. I seed it in the stable yard, it fairly turned me sick, a greasy, wheezy engine as can neither buck nor kick. You've a screw to drive it for'ard, and a screw to make it stop, for it was foaled in a smithy stove and bred in a blacksmith shop. It didn't want no stable, it didn't ask no groom, it didn't need no nothin' but a bit o' standin' room. Just fill it up with paraffin, and it would go all day, which the same should be agin the law if I could 'ave my way. Well, master took his motor car and motored 'ere and there, a frightenin' the 'orses and a poisonin' the air. He wore a bloomin' yachtin' cap, but lor! what did he know, 'cept that if you turn a screw the thing would stop or go? And then one day it wouldn't go. He screwed and screwed again, but something jammed, and there he stuck in the mud of a country lane. It 'urt his pride most cruel, but what's he to do? So at last he bade me fetch a 'orse to pull the motor through. This was the 'orse we fetched him, and when we reached the car, we braced him tight and proper to the middle of the bar, and buckled up his traces and lashed them to each side, while he 'eld his 'ead so 'aughtily and looked most dignified. Not bad-tempered, mind you, but kind of pained and vexed, and he seemed to say, "Well, blimey, what will they ask me next? I've put up with some liberties, but this cap's all by far to be assistant engine to a crocky motor car." Well, master 'e was in the car, a-fiddlin' with the gear, and the 'orse was meditatin', and I was standin' near, when master 'e touched somethin', what it was we'll never know, but it sort o' spurred the boiler up, and made the engine go. "'Old 'ard, old gal," says master, and "Gently then," says I, "but an engine won't 'eed coaxin', and it ain't no use to try." So first he pulled a lever, and then he turned a screw, but the thing kept crawlin' for'ard, spite of all that he could do. At first it went quite slowly, and the 'orse went also slow, but he had to buck up faster when the wheels began to go, for the car kept crowdin' on him and buttin' him along, and in less than 'alf a minute, sir, that 'orse was goin' strong. At first he walked quite dignified, and then he had to trot, and then he tried a canter when the pace became too 'ot. He looked as very 'aughtiest, as if he didn't 'e mind, and all the time the motor car was pushin' 'im behind. Now master lost his head when he found he couldn't stop, and he pulled a valve or somethin', and somethin' else went pop, and somethin' else went fizzy-whiz, and in a flash or less that blessed car was goin' like a limited express. Master 'eld the steerin' gear, and kept the road all right, and away they whizzed and clattered, my aunt, it was a sight! He seemed the finest draught 'orse as ever lived by far, for all the country juggins thought 'twas 'im what pulled the car. He was stretchin' like a grey'ound, he was goin' all he knew, but it bumped and shoved be'ind him for all that he could do, butted him and boosted him, and spanked him on a head, till he broke that 10-mile record, same as I already said. 10 mile in 20 minutes, he done it, sir, that's true, the only time we ever found when that 'ere horse could do. Some say it wasn't 'ardly fair, and the papers made a fuss, but he broke the 10-mile record, and that's good enough for us. You see that 'orse's tail, sir, you don't, no more do we, which really ain't surprisin', for he has no tail to see. That engine wore it off him before master made it stop, and all the road was littered like a bloomin' barber's shop. And master, well, it cured him. He altered from that day, and come back to his 'orses in the good old-fashioned way, And if you wants to get the sack, the quickest way by far is to 'int as how you think he ought to keep a motor car. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
With the Chiddingfolds by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. Read for LibriVox.org by Martin Geeson. In Chiddingfold, near Haslemere, Surrey. The horse is bedded down where the straw lies deep. The hound is in the kennel, let the poor hound sleep. And the fox is in the spinney by the run which he is haunting. And I'll lay an even guinea that a goose or two is wanting when the farmer comes to count them in the morning. The horse is up and saddled, girth the old horse tight. The hounds are out and drawing in the morning light. Now it's yoik among the heather, and it's yoik across the clover, and it's to him all together, hike a Bertha, hike a Rover, and the woodlands smell so sweetly in the morning. There's Termagant a-whimpering, she whimpers so. There's a young hound yapping. Let the young hound go, but the old hound is cunning, and it's him we mean to follow. They're running, and it's forward to the hollow, for the scent is lying strongly in the morning. Who's the fool that heads him? Hold hard and let him pass. He's out among the osiers, he's clear upon the grass. You grip his flanks and settle, for the horse is stretched and straining. Here's a game to test your mettle, and a sport to try your training, when the Chiddingfolds are running in the morning. We're up by the coppice, and we're down by the mill. We're out upon the common, and the hounds are running still. You must tighten on the leather, for we blunder through the bracken. Though you're over hocks in heather, still the pace must never slacken, as we race through Thursley Common in the morning. We are breaking from the tangle, we are out upon the green. There's a bank and a hurdle with a quick set between. You must steady him and try it. You are over with a scramble. Here's a wattle, you must fly it, and you land among the bramble, for it's roughish, toughish going in the morning. Ware the bog by the grove, as you pound through the slush. See the whip, see the huntsman, we are close upon his brush. Ware the root that lies before you, it will trip you if you blunder. Ware the branch that's drooping o'er you, you must dip and swerve from under, as you gallop through the woodland in the morning. Oh, there were 50 at the find, there were 40 at the mill, there were 20 on the heath, and 10 are going still. Some are pounded, some are shirking, and they dwindle and diminish, till a weary pair are working, spent and blowing, to the finish. And we hear the shrill whooping in the morning. Oh, the horse is bedded down where the straw lies deep. The hound is in the kennel, he is yapping in his sleep. But the fox is in the spinney, lying snug in earth and burrow. And I'll lay an even guinea we could find again tomorrow, if we chose to go a-hunting in the morning. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
A Hunting Morning by Arthur Conan Doyle. Read for LibriVox.org by Anusha Iyer, Mumbai. A hunting morning. Put the saddle on the mare, for the wet winds blow. There's winter in the air, and autumn all below. For the red leaves are flying, and the red bracken dying, and the red fox lying where the osiers grow. Put the bridle on the mare, for my blood runs chill, and my heart it is there, on the heather-tufted hill, with the grey skies over us, and the long-drawn chorus of a running pack before us from the find to the kill. Then lead round the mare, for it's time that we began, and away with thought and care, save to live and be a man, while the keen air is blowing, and the huntsman hollowing, and the black mare going as the black mare can. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Old Grey Fox by Arthur Conan Doyle. Read for LibriVox.org by Shakira Searle. We started from the Valley Pride, and Farnham way we went. We waited at the cover-side, but never found a scent. Then we tried the withy beds, which grow by Frensham town, and there we found the old grey fox, the same old fox, the game old fox. Yes, there we found the old grey fox, which lives on Hankley Down. So here's to the master, and here's to the man, and here's to 20 couple of the white and black and tan. Here's a find without a weight, here's a hedge without a gate, here's the man who follows straight where the old fox ran. The member rode his thoroughbred, doctor had the grey, the soldier led on a roan red, the sailor rode the bay. Squire was there on his Irish mare, and parson on the brown, and so we chased the old grey fox, the same old fox, the game old fox, and so we chased the old grey fox across the Hankley Down. So here's to the master, and here's to the man, and here's to 20 couple of the white and black and tan. Here's a find without a weight, here's a hedge without a gate, here's the man who follows straight where the old fox ran. The doctor's grey was going strong until she slipped and fell. He had to keep his bed so long his patients all got well. The member, he had lost his seat, 'twas carried by his horse, and so we chased the old grey fox, the same old fox, the game old fox, and so we chased the old grey fox that earthed in Hankley Gorse. So here's to the master, and here's to the man, and here's to 20 couple of the white and black and tan. Here's a find without a weight, here's a hedge without a gate, here's the man who follows straight where the old fox ran. The parson sadly fell away, and in the furze did lie. The words we heard that parson say made all the horses shy. The sailor, he was seen no more upon that stormy bay, but still we chased the old grey fox, the same old fox, the game old fox. Still we chased the old grey fox through all the winter day. So here's to the master, and here's to the man, and here's to 20 couple of the white and black and tan. Here's a find without a weight, here's a hedge without a gate, here's the man who follows straight where the old fox ran. And when we found him gone to ground, they sent for spade and man. But Squire said, "Shame! The beast was game, a gamer never ran. His wind and pace have gained the race, his life is fairly won. But may we meet the old grey fox, the same old fox, the game old fox. May we meet the old grey fox before the year is done. So here's to the master, and here's to the man, and here's to 20 couple of the white and black and tan. Here's a find without a weight, here's a hedge without a gate, here's the man who follows straight where the old fox ran." End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Ware Holes by Arthur Conan Doyle. Read for LibriVox.org by Leonard Wilson of Springfield, Ohio. Ware Holes. Ware holes is the expression used in the hunting field to warn those behind against rabbit burrows or other such dangers. A sporting death, my word it was, and taken in a sporting way. Mind you, I wasn't there to see, I only tell you what they say. They found that day at Shillinglee, and ran him down to Chillinghurst. The fox was going straight and free for 90 minutes at a burst. They had a check at Ivernow, and made a cast across the Down, until they got a view alow, and chased him up to Kirdford town. From Kirdford he ran Bramber way, and took him over aft the Weald. If you have tried the Sussex clay, you'll guess it weeded out the field. Until at last, I don't suppose it's half a dozen at the most, came safe to where the grassland goes, switchbacking southards to the coast. Young Captain Edley, he was there, and Jem the Whip, and Percy Day, the Purcells, and Sir Charles Adair, and this here gent from London way. For he had gone amazing fine, 200 pounds between his knees. 8 stone he was, and rode at 9, as light and limber as you please. He was a stranger to the hunt, there weren't a person as he knew there, but he could ride, that London gent, he sat his mare as if he grew there. They seed the hounds upon that scent, but found a fence across their track, and had to fly it, else it meant a turning and a harking back. He was the foremost at the fence, and as his mare just cleared the rail, he turned to them that rolled behind, for 3 was at his very tail. "Ware Holes," says he, and with the word, still sitting easy on his mare, down, down he went, and down, into the quarry yawning there. Some say it was 200 foot, the bottom lay as black as ink. I guess they had some ugly dreams who reined their horses on the brink. He'd only time for that one cry, "Ware Holes," says he, and saves all 3. There may be better deaths to die, but that one's good enough for me. For mind you, 'twas a sporting end, upon a right good sporting day. They think a deal of him down here, that gent what came from London way. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. The Homecoming of the Eurydice by Arthur Conan Doyle. Read for LibriVox.org by Leonard Wilson of Springfield, Ohio. The Homecoming of the Eurydice, lost with her crew of 300 boys on the last day of her voyage, March 23, 1876, she foundered off Portsmouth, from which town many of the boys came. Up with the royals that top the white spread of her, press her and dress her and drive through the foam, the islands to port and the mainland ahead of her. Hey for the Honor and hailing and home. Bo'sun, oh, bo'sun, just look at the green of it. Look at the red cattle down by the hedge. Look at the farmsteading, all that is seen of it, one little gable end over the edge. Lord, the tongues of them clattering, all growing wild at a peep of the white. Aye, sir, aye, it has set them all chattering, thinking of home and their mothers to-night. Spread the topgallants, oh, lay them out lustily. What though it darken over Netherby Combe, 'tis but the valley wind puffing so gustily. On for the Warner and hailing and home. Bo'sun, oh, bo'sun, just see the long slope of it. Culver is there with the cliff and the light. Tell us, oh, tell us, now, is there a hope of it? Shall we have leave for our homes for to-night? Tut the clack of them, steadily, steadily. Aye, as you say, sir, they're little ones still. One long reach should open it readily, round by St. Helens and under the hill. The spit and the nab are the gates o' the promise, the mothers to them, and to us it's our wives. I've sailed 40 years, and by God, it's upon us! Down, royals, down, topsails, down, down for your lives! A grey swirl of snow, with a squall at the back of it, heeling her, reeling her, beating her down. A gleam of her bends in the thick of the wrack of it, a flutter of white in the eddies of brown. It broke in one moment of blizzard and blindness, the next, like a foul bat, it flapped on its way. But our ship and our boys, gracious Lord, in your kindness, give help to the mothers who need it to-day. Give help to the women who wait by the water, who stand on the hard with their eyes past the white. Ah, whisper it gently, you sister or daughter. Our boys are all gathered at home for to-night. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Inner Room by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. Read for LibriVox.org by Martin Geeson. In Hazelmere, Surrey. It is mine, the little chamber, mine alone. I had it from my forebears years agone. Yet within its walls I see a most motley company, and they, one and all, claim me as their own. There's one who is a soldier, bluff and keen, single-minded, heavy-fisted, rude of mien. He would gain a purse or stake it, he would win a heart or break it, he would give a life or take it, conscience clean. And near him is a priest, still schism whole. He loves the censer reek and organ roll. He has leanings to the mystic, sacramental, eucharistic, and dim yearnings altruistic thrill his soul. There's another who with doubts is overcast. I think him younger brother to the last, walking wary stride by stride, peering forwards anxious-eyed, since he learned to doubt his guide in the past. And mid them all, alert but somewhat cowed, there sits a stark-faced fellow, beetle-browed, whose black soul shrinks away from a lawyer-ridden day, and has thoughts he dare not say, half avowed. There are others who are sitting, grim as doom, in the dim, ill-boding shadow of my room, darkling figures, stern or quaint, now a savage, now a saint, showing fitfully and faint through the gloom. And those shadows are so dense, there may be many, very many, more than I see. They are sitting day and night, soldier, rogue, and anchorite, and they wrangle and they fight over me. If the stark-faced fellow win, all is o'er. If the priest should gain his will, I doubt no more. But if each shall have his day, I shall swing and I shall sway in the same old weary way as before. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Irish Colonel by Arthur Conan Doyle. Read for LibriVox.org by Audiobook. Said the king to the colonel, "The complaints are eternal, that you Irish give more trouble than any other corpse." Said the colonel to the king, "This complaint is no new thing, for your foemen, sire, have made it 100 times before." End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Blind Archer by Arthur Conan Doyle. Read for LibriVox.org by Shakira Searle. Little boy Love drew his bow at a chance, shooting down at the ballroom floor. He hit an old chaperone watching the dance, and oh, but he wounded her sore. Hey, love, you couldn't mean that. Hi, love, what would you be at? No word would he say, but he flew on his way, for the little boy's busy, and how could he stay? Little boy Love drew a shaft just for sport at the soberest club in Pall Mall. He winged an old veteran drinking his port, and down that old veteran fell. Hey, love, you mustn't do that. Hi, love, what would you be at? This cannot be right, it's ludicrous quite, but it's no use to argue, for love's out of sight. A sad-faced young clerk, in a cell, all apart, was planning a celibate vow, but the boy's random arrow has sunk in his heart, and the cell is an empty one now. Hey, love, you mustn't do that. Hi, love, what would you be at? He is not for you, he has duties to do. But I am his duty, quoth Love, as he flew. The king sought a bride, and the nation had hoped for a queen without rival or peer. But the little boy shot, and the king has eloped with Miss No-one on nothing a year. Hey, love, you couldn't mean that. Hi, love, what would you be at? What an impudent thing to make game of a king! But I'm a king also, cried Love on the wing. Little boy Love grew pettish one day. If you keep on complaining, he swore, I'll pack both my bow and my quiver away, and so I shall plague you no more. Hey, love, you mustn't do that. Hi, love, what would you be at? You may ruin our ease, you may do what you please, but we can't do without you, you dear little tease. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
A Parable by Arthur Conan Doyle, read for LibriVox.org by Amanda Vickery. A Parable. The cheese mites asked how the cheese got there, and warmly debated the matter. The orthodox said that it came from the air, and the heretic said from the platter. They argued it long, and they argued it strong, and I hear they are arguing now. But of all the choice spirits who lived in the cheese, not one of them thought of a cow. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
A Tragedy by Arthur Conan Doyle. Read for LibriVox.org by Shakira Searle. Who's that walking on the moorland? Who's that moving on the hill? They are passing mid the bracken, but the shadows grow and blacken, and I cannot see them clearly on the hill. Who's that calling on the moorland? Who's that crying on the hill? Was it bird or was it human? Was it child or man or woman? Who was calling so sadly on the hill? Who's that running on the moorland? Who's that flying on the hill? He is there, and there again, but you cannot see him plain, for the shadow lies so darkly on the hill. What's that lying in the heather? What's that lurking on the hill? My horse will go no nearer, and I cannot see it clearer, but there's something that is lying on the hill. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Passing by Arthur Conan Doyle. Read for LibriVox.org by Asaph Koss. It was the hour of dawn when the heart beats thin and small. The window glimmered grey, framed in a shadow wall, and in the cold sad light of the early morning tide, the dear dead girl came back and stood by his bedside. The girl he lost came back. He saw her flowing hair. It flickered and it waved like a breath in frosty air, as in a steamy glass. Her face was dim and blurred. Her voice was sweet and thin, like the calling of a bird. You said that you would come. You promised not to stay, and I have waited here to help you on the way. I have waited on, but still you bide below. You said that you would come, and oh, I want you so. For half my soul is here, and half my soul is there, when you are on the earth, and I am in the air. But on your dressing stand there lies a triple key. Unlock the little gate which fences you from me. Just one little pang, just one throb of pain, and then your weary head between my breasts again. In the dim unhomely light of the early morning tide, he took the triple key, and he laid it by his side. A pistol silver chased, an open hunting knife, a phial of the drug which cures the ill of life. He looked upon the three, and sharply drew his breath. Now help me, O my love, for I fear this cold grey death. She bent her face above, she kissed him and she smiled. She soothed him as a mother may soothe a frightened child. Just that little pang, love, just a throb of pain, and then your weary head between my breasts again. He snatched the pistol up, he pressed it to his ear, but a sudden sound broke in, and his skin was raw with fear. He took the hunting knife, he tried to raise the blade, it glimmered cold and white, and he was sore afraid. He poured the potion out, but it was thick and brown, his throat was sealed against it, and he could not drain it down. He looked to her for help, and when he looked, behold, his love was there before him, as in the days of old. He saw the drooping head, he saw the gentle eyes, he saw the same shy grace of hers he had been wont to prize. She pointed and she smiled, and lo, he was aware of a half-lit bedroom chamber, and a silent figure there, a silent figure lying asprawl upon the bed, with a silver-mounted pistol still clotted to his head. And as he downward gazed, her voice came full and clear, the homely tender voice which he had loved to hear. The key is very certain, the door is sealed to none. You did it, oh my darling, and you never knew it done. When the net was broken, you thought you felt it smash. You carried to the spirit the troubles of the flesh. And are you trembling still, dear? Then let me take your hand, and I will lead you outward to a sweet and restful land. You know how once in London I put my griefs on you, but I can carry yours now, most sweet it is to do. Most sweet it is to do, love, and very sweet to plan how I, the helpless woman, can help the helpful man. But let me see you smiling with the smile I know so well. Forget the world of shadows and the empty broken shell. It is the worn-out garment in which you tore a rent. You tossed it down and carelessly upon your way you went. It is not you, my sweetheart, for you are here with me. That frame was but the promise of the thing that was to be, a tuning of the choir ere the harmonies begin, and yet it is the image of the subtle thing within. There's not a trick of body, there's not a trait of mind, but you bring it over with you, ethereal, refined. But still the same, for surely, if we alter as we die, you would be no longer, and I would not be I. I might be an angel, but not the girl you knew. You might be immaculate, but that would not be you. And now I see you smiling, so darling take my hand, and I will lead you outward to a sweet and pleasant land, where thought is clear and nimble, where life is pure and fresh, where the soul comes back rejoicing from the mud bath of the flesh. But still that soul is human, with human ways, and so I love my love in spirit, as I loved him long ago. So with hands together, and fingers twining tight, the two dead lovers drifted in the golden morning light. But a grey-haired man was lying beneath them on a bed, with a silver-mounted pistol still clotted to his head. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Franklin's Maid, from the White Company, by Arthur Conan Doyle. Read for LibriVox.org by Shakira Searle. The Franklin, he hath gone to Rome. The Franklin's maid, she bides at home. But she is cold, and coy, and staid, and who may win the Franklin's maid? There came a knight of high renown, in bassinet and cyclatoon. On bended knee full long he prayed, he might not win the Franklin's maid. There came a squire so debonair, his dress was rich, his words were fair. He sweetly sang, he deftly played, he could not win the Franklin's maid. There came a mercer, wonder fine, with velvet cap and gabardine. For all his ships, for all his trade, he could not buy the Franklin's maid. There came an archer, bold and true, with bracer-guard and stave of yew. His purse was light, his jerkin frayed. Arot, alas, the Franklin's maid! Oh, some have laughed, and some have cried, and some have scarred the countryside. But off they ride, through wood and glade, the bowman and the Franklin's maid. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Old Huntsman by Arthur Conan Doyle. Read for LibriVox.org by Asaph Koss. There's a keen and grim old huntsman on a horse as white as snow. Sometimes he is very swift, and sometimes he's slow, but he never is at fault, for he always hunts at view, and he rides without a halt after you. The huntsman's name is Death. His horse's name is Time. He's coming, as I sit and write this rhyme. He's coming, as you read the rhyme I write. You can hear the hoofs slow drumming day and night. You can hear the distant drumming as the clock goes tick-a-tack, and the chiming of the hours is the music of his pack. You may hardly note their growling underneath the noonday sun, but at night you hear them howling as they run. And they never check or falter, for they never miss their kill. Seasons change and systems alter, but the hunt is running still. Hark, the evening chime is playing, o'er the long grey town it peals. Don't you hear the death hound baying at your heels? Where is there an earth or burrow, where a cover left for you? A year, a week, perhaps tomorrow, brings the huntsman's death halloo. Day by day he gains upon us, and the most that we can claim is that when the hounds are on us we die game. And somewhere dwells the master by whom it was decreed. He sent the savage huntsman, he bred the snow-white steed. These hounds which run forever, he set them on your track. He hears you scream but never calls them back. He does not heed our suing, we never see his face. He hunts to our undoing, we thank him for the chase. We thank him and we flatter, we hope because we must. But have we cause? No matter, let us trust. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.